This is north of the North Sea in the Atlantic Ocean. In the east are Britain, Norway, Denmark, and the Netherlands. Europe has been called the richest continent in the world. The truth is, in today's video, we will see how the North Sea is the lifeline of Europe, how it was formed, and what things will happen in the coming days that will make it even more important. It is said that whoever controls the seas controls the world. North spread over 570,000 square kilometers. The North Sea is the biggest example of this. For thousands of years, for centuries, this sea has been a battleground for European powers. It has been the ground where countless wars were fought. The start of these wars began in 43 AD when the Roman Empire launched ships to invade Britain, attacked, took control, and then here for the first time established ports, after which trade between Britain and Central Europe. This was the first time when the world, and especially European empires, realized that whoever wants to rule Europe must take control of the North Sea in the 8th century. Roman Empire control of the North Sea shifted to the Scandinavian countries, went to the Vikings who were present. Through small boats, they ventured to the northern and launched attacks on Central European countries and plundered them. These people used the advantage of these small ships was that through them, they could enter the rivers of Europe and there reach Central Europe. The entire Europe was troubled by them, and due to their plundering in response, a few merchants in Germany formed an organization together, which was called the Hanseatic League, to protect themselves from the plundering. This idea gradually became so popular that the rest businessmen in Europe also joined this organization, continued to join. These people countered the Vikings by building large navies to protect themselves from Viking attacks, and started building large navy ships and trade posts. By the 15th century, the Hanseatic League's influence was so strong that even from Estonia in the north to the UK and France in the south, they had control over the North Sea. The North Sea had now become safe for trade. Excellent ports have been established, and in the Navy there was no match for Europe anywhere in the world. This was the time when Europeans thought that through this Navy, they could now access resources and discover new continents as well. For this purpose, European countries began to send their ships into the oceans of the rest of the world, sent explorers. And as a result, America, Africa, India, East Asia, and Australia was discovered. And from here later, through this sea and navy, the British Empire ruled over the entire world. During the World Wars, the North Sea once then came into the spotlight when the Allies blocked the North Sea to cut off Germany's supply lines, changing the outcome of both world wars because of the North Sea. In World War I, Germany was unable to attack Britain and take control. However, at that time, Hitler was literally unstoppable. After World War II, in the North Sea, all weapons and ammunition were dumped. According to many research studies, even today the North Sea contains approximately 1.5 million tons of ammunition that has been there for the past 70 years lies beneath this sea. But not only ammunition under the North Sea, but also much more that contributed to Europe's trade, communication, and economic development, which was set to become a hub for economic development. Before World War II, the North Sea was an important military strategic component. However, after World War II, these nations that had fought against each other, European countries, came together and became members of NATO. Every country sharing a coastline with the North Sea was given an exclusive economic zone was granted, according to which the resources and trade activities emerging from this zone were regulated by the same respective countries' rights. Now the era of industrialization had arrived. As industries were being established, consumer demand was also increasing, along with the rise of automobiles was also increasing, and all this activity was being powered by one energy source, oil. At that time in Europe, only a small amount of oil production was taking place in some parts of the UK and Germany, but that was insufficient for the increasing economic activity, was insufficient to sustain it, and that's why all of Western Europe heavily depended on the Middle East for its energy requirements. However, then something happened that changed this entire situation. In 1969, large natural gas reserves were discovered near Groningen in the Netherlands. After this discovery, all North European countries, especially the UK and Norway, aggressively began exploring for oil and gas because the largest economic zones in the North Sea belong to these two countries. Massive exploration campaigns were launched, and extensive drilling was conducted. However, despite 200 attempts, nothing came up, and everyone was disheartened. But then, the renowned company Phillips Petroleum decided to make one last try, and this time they focused on the corner of Norway's Easy, where the UK, Netherlands, Germany, and Denmark's Easies converge. They began drilling, and luckily, they discovered huge oil reserves here. This discovery changed Norway's fortune drastically, and a country that was once just an exporter of fish and timber had now become the world's largest oil producer. In a short time, the UK also discovered oil and gas reserves here had discovered. After these discoveries, the UK was fulfilling 90% of its oil requirements from this North Sea field, and it only had to import 10% of its oil from abroad. Because of these oil reserves, today, compared to other European countries, the UK is not dependent on any external country for its energy requirements. And that's why, even after the Russia-Ukraine war, it has not faced an energy crisis with the same intensity it has not had to face, unlike Germany and other European countries. So in a nutshell, if we look at it, the North Sea serves as the backbone for the economies of European countries. However, extracting these resources from the North Sea is not an easy task. No, because there are many storms that frequently affect the sea's conditions. Over the past 60 years, there have been many accidents have also occurred, and many thousands of people have lost their lives, often due to the waves coming from the Atlantic Ocean. Due to this, the waves in the North Sea can become dangerously high, making it very difficult for maritime vessels passing through. Similarly, extracting oil and gas from the North Sea reserves are also depleting rapidly, and it is possible that in a few years, the dynamics of the North Sea may completely change. Anyway, whatever happens in the future, one thing is certain, it is clear that the North Sea has played a significant role in shaping today's world map. It is said that the Mediterranean Sea defined the classical world map, while the Atlantic Ocean created the modern world map, and now the Pacific Ocean will shape the world map of the future, redefining it, as the three major powers of the world are rapidly increasing their control over the Pacific. One of them is China, the second is Russia, and the third is the United States. This ocean is indeed the future of our world, and that's why the world's superpowers are rapidly trying to gain control over it. We have created 2 videos on this topic, which will provide you with clarity that naval dominance is the key to progress in the future will be the means through which a country will rise. The stronger a country's navy and the more control it has over the world's oceans, the greater its status and influence in the world. This encompasses all the sources we consulted for today's video. We'll meet in the next video with another interesting topic. Take care. Allah Hafiz.